Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name's Janelle and I upload new videos every Wednesday and Friday. And in today's video, I wanted to show you guys this really pretty neutral bronzy look. I'm gonna show you guys how I got this eye look. It's literally so easy but so beautiful, perfect for any special occasion. And then I'm also gonna walk you guys through step by step on my new favorite skin like foundation routine. You guys have to watch if you want your skin to look like this and you want it to stay looking like this literally all day without moving, but not looking heavy, but photographing really good. Like, I'm seriously gonna put you guys on to one of the best foundation routines ever. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to talk about Dossier fragrances. Once again, I worked with them so much on my channel, and it's just because I truly love their products. This is not a sponsorship, but I am working with them. If you guys don't know who Dossier Fragrance is, they're basically a company that makes duplicates of very high-end fragrances for a fraction of the cost. They have fragrances that range from like $29 to $49. When I tell you that they smell exactly like the real thing, I'm not lying. I've tried several other fragrances that I've had, like the actual real ones, and it's so hard to tell the difference. Sometimes I actually end up preferring the Dossier ones. So right now I'm gonna put you guys onto a dupe that they made of literally one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I've talked about La Vie Belle on my channel. I love this fragrance. However, this bottle right here was about like, I think $110. So I got this one from Dossier. It's the Gourmand Orange Blossom, and it's 1.7 ounces for only $29. And when I tell you guys that it smells so close to it, I'm not making it up. Okay, like it almost smells identical. So just like the La Vie Belle original, this has top notes of orange, blossom, blackcurrant, hazelnut, middle notes of orris, jasmine, sambac, patchouli. Patchouli is in all of my favorite fragrances. And then it has base notes of praline, vanilla, and tonka bean. It smells just like La Vie Belle after La Vie Belle has been on for about like 1 to 2 hours. So it definitely starts off as a little bit more faint, but it still wears beautifully throughout the day and it still lasts. And the reason why I wanted to get the Dossier version of my La Vie Belle is so that I could spray this for like an everyday use and still smell like my favorite fragrance, but that way I'm not like burning through my more expensive bottle. I also like to get these in like scents that I already have to use as like room sprays or things like that. That way I'm not wasting a super expensive bottle of perfume for something like that. So definitely check out Dossier fragrances. So I'll leave them linked down below. You can also use my code JanelleL10 and save some money off. Check them out. And without any more rambling, let's get into the video. So I already started off by using my Got To Be Glued styling gel, and I just lightly did a coat of that throughout my brows. Now I'm just going to clean up underneath of my brows and kind of prime my eyelids with my Lancome Idole primer. Then I just like to take my beauty blender and I'll just like smooth everything out. I'm gonna add extra concealer inside of here because I feel like that always gets so dark on me, and whenever I do eyes first, I like to take advantage and just make sure I'm able to conceal all the areas really nice before I go in with like my eyeshadows and face makeup and all of that. Now let's do some brow. So I finally got my Benefit Precisely My Brow. Every time I get a different brow pencil, I always end up regretting it because this one's just so good. And I got mine in the shade 3.75. I'm gonna speed through this because I can't even teach you guys how to fill in brows because I feel like I am still terrible at filling in my brows. I'm good at filling in other people's brows, just not my own. One tip I will say that I like to do that I feel like works is starting at the top versus the bottom. That way you don't drag the eyes downward. It lifts it more. I'll touch up the brows toward the end because once I do my face makeup, they'll kind of like smear and stuff, so I'll end up having to touch up anyway. But now I'm going to take my Tula Skin Blurring Filter Primer. I'm going to combine this primer with my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This one I like because it kind of like will mattify without mattifying. Like it's not going to dry out my skin. But I don't know. It just kind of like takes away this extra shine that is from like all my skincare. And then it also helps with like evening up the skin tone. And then I just focus the e.l.f. primer wherever my pores are really large and I need something to really fill them in. And I like to do primer before I start the eyes. That way while I'm doing my eyes, the primer has time to like really soak into my skin. Then we're gonna take the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, which I desperately need another one of, almost out. Scoop some out with the back of my nail and put it on either side. And then I just use it to fill in because I have really large pores right here. I also like to wear this primer combination without any foundation. I'll just do this primer combo, put some concealer under my eyes, and my skin looks like really good, smooth, and even. Now we're going to set the eyelids using a little bit of my Dermablend loose powder. You can use literally any powder or loose powder of your choice. Pick that up with a Morphe fluffy brush. Any big tapered blending brush will work. Now you want to make sure you don't use too much of this powder though, because I found if I like mattify it too much, my eyeshadows don't stick anymore. Joka. My dog is right under me because he's always near me when I'm filming and he's just knocked out snoring. So all I hear is just like faint snoring while I'm doing my makeup. Alright, so now I'm going to take one of my favorite transition colors, and it's actually a drugstore powder. I talked about this in my previous video. It's the number 7 Triple Action Powder in the shade Medium. It literally looks like Soft Brown by MAC. Blends out, just smooths out the eye. I'm going to pick that up with that same Morphe fluff brush and just do a really, really light sweep of this. This has more of a warm undertone, which I just want a hint of it peeking through, but I don't want my transitions to be super warm. The rest I want pretty like neutral. So really lightly buffing this in the crease. Yo, Choka is still snoring. I wonder if my mic is picking it up. And I'm gonna extend all of my eyeshadows pretty far out, because then I'll clean it up with a makeup wipe or a Q-tip and some remover, and it'll give that nice like lifted straight edge look. Then following that, I'm gonna take this shade in my Patrick Top palette. Any neutral brown will work. Does not have to be this exact palette, but any more like cool tone neutral brown. Quark by MAC is a good one. Omega by MAC is a good one. Wherever you have a brown that is very like neutral. So I'm going to take that with a slightly smaller fluff brush. This is the Morphe M573 brush. Same exact shape, just a little bit more dense. The colors show up a little bit more pigmented. And I always start in the center and then just blend it inward. And then out. And I think I'm even going to take the angle of my Got To Be Glued gel and just use that to make sure we get a nice crisp edge. There we go. Then following that, I'm going to, what am I doing after this? Oh yeah, I'm going to take the shade Golden Chocolate by Bobbi Brown. It's a really pretty bronzy color with like a flecks of sheer gold sparkle throughout. I don't know if they still make this, but I'll definitely leave similar options linked down below. I know MAC has a really similar shadow to this. Also in my Natasha Denona palette, bronzy color here. And then I could take like a sheer sparkle over top. I'll try to link down below different options that you can do. But this color is just so pretty. It's sheer, but it gives a soft twinkle. And I love applying it with my finger. So I'm literally just going to take it with my ring finger and just start tapping it all over my eye. Look at that. So pretty. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'll take my blending brush and just blend out the edges. But I just like to get that initial lay down. MAC 239 shader brush and just tap it a little bit more on the edges. And then I'll take the blending brush that I was using previously and super lightly. I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I'm just lightly tapping the edges, but I'm not like I'm using a very light hand, very light motions. You see the pretty just like soft twinkle it leaves on the eye? I think this is the eye look that I'm gonna wear for my sister's wedding. It's like a perfect statement without being too over the top. It's so hard trying to figure out what kind of makeup you want to do for a wedding, especially if you're a bridesmaid, because it's like you don't want it to be similar to the bride's makeup at all, but you also don't want it to be like super crazy and like anything overpowering. My dress that I'm wearing is also like a really pretty chocolate brown almost, so I feel like the eyes will go perfect with it. So eyes are pretty much done. I told you it was gonna be super simple. I'll come back to them in a second for like liner and all of that, but now we're gonna move on to the face. Oh yeah, also I don't know if you guys missed it, but I cleaned up the edge of my eyeshadow with just a little bit of my moisturizer and a Q-tip. So now I'm gonna be taking my literal favorite foundation at the moment. I forgot how amazing this was. I recently rediscovered it, and it is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation. Guys, if you want your skin to have like a full coverage flawless moment but not look cakey, still look really smooth and wear beautifully throughout the day, this is the foundation for you. This works for so many skin types because it's not a shiny foundation, but it's also not too matte of a foundation to where when it's on it'll start like gripping to dry patches or flaking off throughout the day. Like, it's just the perfect finish. It's literally beautiful, and I feel like it's not talked about enough. So I have these shades, Cork and Cashew. This one's too light, this one's too dark, so I just dot both on each side and then blend it out with my beauty blender. But this is literally the foundation that I'm gonna wear for my sister's wedding because it also photographs beautifully. It's just an all-around amazing foundation. Good special occasion foundation too, because like I said, you're gonna get that full coverage moment, but it's not gonna look heavy. So I just do a little bit of the cork. I feel like technically cork matches me, but I'm kind of in denial that I need a tan that bad. So I'm also gonna dot just a little bit of cashew just to add some warmth. And I just dot a little bit of cork on the back of my hand and pick it up with my beauty sponge, just so that way when I start to blend it out, I have product already on my sponge, so it's not going to pick up the foundation. And I really like to push it into the skin. I feel like that's the trick to making your foundation just look natural and not look heavy, like there's just a bunch of product sitting on top. Just really want to work it in the skin. You guys see like the coverage that it gives. Then don't forget your ears. And I just take whatever's left and blend on my forehead. There's literally like nothing left on my sponge. And I like it that way. That way it doesn't look as heavy, because obviously like not a lot of people need coverage on their forehead. So following that, I'm going to take the e.l.f. Putty bronzer and use that to contour my nose. I love this because it's a nice like cool tone, but it's not too cool, so it won't look like you got punched in the nose. Then taking my Lancome Idole concealer, I'm going to use that to highlight underneath of my eyes and down the bridge of my nose, chin, and forehead. Guys, I have been thoroughly enjoying this concealer. Remember when I did my initial review, I didn't know how I feel, but that's why I always like to play around with different products after I try a product, because sometimes the items or powders that I use with it don't make the concealer work to the best ability, but once I switch the products, I end up finding like a new beautiful base skin combination. Picking up a little bit of that concealer with this concealer brush and just lightly doing a line down my nose and also a little bit on the side. Also, this is in the shade 250 Bisque Warm. Again, just picking some up with the tip of my beauty blender first, and then I'm just gonna lightly start patting this in. I just really love the coverage that it gives, but it's a thin consistency, so it doesn't end up looking heavy underneath of the eyes. And then it also wears a very long time, which I love. I'm just really lightly pushing that into my skin. Again, always patting, never swiping. Do not swipe underneath of your eyes. I used to cringe when I was working at MAC, and I would see customers like blending it in, like literally smearing it. I'm like, my gosh, how many wrinkles do you want to have underneath of there? One, and then they would use our most full coverage concealer and be swiping it and be like, this has no coverage. I'm like, I wonder why. You move the product everywhere that you weren't even concentrating it where you wanted the coverage. So especially for under your eyes, if you want coverage like mainly here, just make sure to really lightly tap there. That way most of the product is there and you're not moving it around, covering areas that you didn't even, want coverage. Following that, I'm gonna take I actually need another one of. I need to order this. My favorite contour, it's my e.l.f. Fit Me foundation stick in the shade 355. This just melts into the skin like butter, wears beautifully throughout the day, doesn't end up like getting patchy or anything throughout the day, like right here. And again, with contour, you don't need to apply a crazy amount. I just put a little bit here because when I blend it out, it'll end up bringing it down. If I were to like go back and forth and apply too much product, by the time I went to blend everything out, it would look super muddy. So just be mindful of that. You can always add more. It's easy to add than to try to take away. Kind of hard to take it away unless you wipe everything off. I'm using my Makeup by Mario F1 face brush to blend this out. I love this brush so much. It blends out products seamlessly. Yeah, I'm so happy. I rearranged my whole studio room because it was just like making me angry, and I found myself like avoiding wanting to film in here and creating content. Like, didn't like being in my room. I used to be able to sit down and film like 3 videos back to back, and I found myself just like wanting to hurry up and like get out of this room because it was just like chaotic. I didn't have a good system. And so I was watching like my studio room tour in my apartment, and I remember how much I loved that room. Like if I was having a bad day or if Alex and I were in an argument, I would just go to my room, just sit there and just be so happy, just because I don't know, I just loved it so much. So I was like, let me try to mimic how I had my setup in that apartment in here. And I already feel so much better. Like even filming right now, it feels great. It like really goes to show that like how whether it's your home, your room, whatever it is, big or small, like if you have it how you like it, and if you set up a system that works, it makes you just want to be way more productive and get way more done. And that's exactly how I feel right now. Like, I'm just so happy with it. Then what I like to do is I'll take a dot of concealer, not a lot, and then I'll take a little bit of my beauty sponge and I'll just tap it on both sides just to clean up underneath of the bronzer. I like to use a little bit of a lot of products when doing my makeup versus a lot of a little bit of products. It ends up making your skin look way less heavy or cakey. So it might seem like a lot of steps, but if you just take a little bit of each, it's really nice. Also guys, the tree outside of my window is starting to turn orange and I'm so excited. The trees are finally all starting to really like change colors. It's so beautiful. After I do this, that's when I spray my face with my Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray. Lock these 2 steps in before I move on to like blush and all of that. So I'm gonna take my e.l.f. putty blush. This is in the shade Bora. Pop of that up here and then bring it in. Also, when placing your contour, blush, all that, I mentioned this in a previous video. It was regarding eye makeup, but it also applies to face makeup. Always just pay attention to your face and what you like and what works for you. Some people say to only apply blush here, back, and for some people, I love that look. On me, I absolutely despise it. It makes my face look weird and it like expands my face more, I feel like. So just always be mindful of like trends and stuff. Make sure that you actually like the way it looks on you and that it works for your face shape and that it's, you know, flattering. All right, now I'm gonna take my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liquid highlighter. I love this so much. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand and then I'll pick it up with the side of my beauty sponge. This really just gives you that melted into the skin highlight look without being too like chunky or sparkly. I also like to apply it again after I powder. Next up, we're gonna take the Dermablend powder. But before we go in with that, I like to spray my face again. Then while my face is like 80% dry, but still 20% damp, that's when I apply it. And I find that by having that slight dampness, it lets the powder just adhere and melt into the skin better, not sit on top, but it also just locks it in all day. So not drenching my face, but just doing a soft mist. Then we're gonna take the butt of the beauty sponge. Make sure the butt is evenly coated, but that's a lot of powder, so I'm just gonna dap off any excess. And then I do a dot on either side. And then I just start pouncing it in circles upward. I think even that was a little bit too much powder, but it's fine. I find that by applying this powder with a damp beauty sponge, it locks everything in place, it smooths everything out, but it prevents the skin from looking really heavy. And that like dampness just helps melt it into the skin better so it doesn't look like you have a million different products layered on top of each other. Following that, I'm taking my favorite powder, which I already need another one of. I'm mad because it's so expensive, but it's the Hourglass Veil Under Eye Powder. The best powder for underneath your eyes if you don't want them to look dry, cakey, or heavy. This will brighten, it will highlight, it'll give a little coverage, but it's gonna look so natural. Again, it's not gonna look like you have an extra layer of product. It's beautiful. So I just apply, shake some into the cap. I also hate the packaging of this. And I pick it up again with my damp beauty sponge. And I always start on the sides of my nose first. And then pat it underneath of the eye. Whatever's left in the cap, I like to pick up with a small fluffy blending brush. And I'll just use that to kind of like highlight and smooth out underneath of my eyebrow bone. Now for bronzer, I'm gonna use that same number 7 powder in the shade Medium. Use this for bronzer, I love it. It's beautiful, it smooths out. It's not too like dark of a shade. It's just stunning. And I'm picking that up with this Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush, the JH05 brush. I like that it's slightly dense, but still fluffy. You'll get a little bit more precision and control, so it's pigmented, but it's fluffy enough to where it'll still blend it and not leave any harsh lines. I'll take any sort of small fluffy brush, use that to bring the bronzer down the sides of the nose and into the eyeshadow. Following that, you take your damp beauty sponge again, and instead of wiping this away, you're just gonna press it into the skin. I'm gonna give your under eyes a really smoothing finish. Next, I'm gonna apply one of my favorite blushes at the moment. It's the color Over the Moon by the Sephora brand. And just pop that on my cheeks. I start at like the highest point of my cheekbone and then bring it in and back. Then from here, I do another spritz of the Lasting Fix Setting Spray and the Fix Plus. So we'll do the Lasting Fix first. I need another bottle of this. I'm already almost out. And then my MAC Fix Plus. MAC Fix Plus will just help give it a more hydrated finish. Maybelline Lasting Fix will help make it like super glue everything in place all day. Then I'm gonna take my MAC Hyper Real Glow palette in the shade Flash and All. I'm gonna mix like these two colors to highlight down the center of my nose. So I'm just taking any sort of like skinny brush. Actually, I'll take a little bit of every color. I just do a really skinny line here. It just helps further enhance the contour. And then I'll also take this fluffy MAC 139 brush, swirl all the colors together and put that on the high points. I just do a really light sweep. I don't like a line of highlight. Also take a little bit of these two colors and use that to highlight my inner corner. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take the same color that we used in our crease. Always like to pat it into the top colors too. Gonna take a little bit more of my Got To Be Glued styling gel and just use that to re-put some more of my hairs in place. I'll take some more of my dermablend powder and just smooth everything out up here. Take my Hyper Real Glow highlight palette again and mix these two colors and just highlight the high point of my eyebrow. This is my favorite eyeliner at the moment, or honestly just of all time because of how long it wears throughout the day. And it's the Makeup by Mario eyeliner. It looks crazy because I use it all the time. But I love the black shade and the brown shade. Right now I'm going to use the brown shade. And I'm going to put that in this inner part of my waterline and then also along the top lash line. But I find that just by really intensifying this inner part right here. So I put it in the top lash line, throughout the inner corner, and then about this far into my lower lash line. So I always have it a little bit thicker out here. And then I take the brush on the other side and just flick it outward. And then that just helps extend the eye without doing a full-on wing. And then I'm just going to apply my MAC Lash Primer and then my Lancome Idole Mascara. I'll leave them both linked down below. And I'm going to apply a half lash, not a full lash. So I am going to apply a good amount of mascara. That way it'll blend into the front lashes really good. I'm actually going to layer my Essence Mascara with my Lancome Idole Mascara. I'm going to apply Essence first, then seal it with the Lancome Idole. I can't use this mascara on its own because it does flake. But if I layer the Idole on top, it'll like lock it in place without flaking, and then this will give me volume. So following that, I'm going to be applying these Kiss Pompadour lashes, but I cut them in half. So basically from like there over, that's what I will be applying. And it'll just give me a little bit more of like a lifted look. It'll look like this. Alright, so once I apply my lash, I just go ahead and cover the lash band with my Physicians Formula eye pen. This one's in the shade brown. Also, when I apply the lash, I lift it a little bit above my skin. That way it kind of gives more of that fox eye look. And then I just like fill in the gap in between the bare skin and my lash underneath. Then next up, I want to do more of like a cool tone nude lip to like kind of feel out that fall vibe, but like the opposite direction, not the warm tone. So I'm going to take MAC Stone lip pencil and line my lip. And then for the lip color, I'm going to use the Carly Bell times Il Makiage collab in the shade Libra. But another color similar to that lip color, if they don't have it in stock, because I know that was limited edition, is Bronx by MAC. Or I'll link a couple other similar options down below. I'm gonna apply a little bit of the Morphe liquid lipstick in the shade Virgin. It's like a nice cool tone, pinky tone, just to kind of balance this out just a little bit. Do I want to do this gloss, or like this gloss would be really pretty? Which one do I want to do? I'm gonna use the Patrick Ta lip gloss. I believe this is in She's Expensive. Just like a beautiful iridescent sparkle. Literally just melts and makes your lips look super juicy. Oh, that is so pretty. Gorgeous! This is really pretty. Let's just fix this hair a little bit. I feel like I'll stick with the updo vibe. All right, you guys, and here you have it. This is the completed makeup look. I'm obsessed with this look. I think that it's perfect for the fall time. You could switch out the lip for a more burnt orange and get that super traditional fall aesthetic, or this will also be perfect for the holiday if you swap out the lip for like a beautiful, vibrant red lip or even a berry lip. Super wearable, perfect for so many different occasions. Like I said, if you're a wedding guest, if you're going to like homecoming or prom or any of that, this is, I feel like, just such a beautiful makeup look and will look so flattering on so many people. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every Wednesday and Friday when I upload. Also, don't forget to check out Dossier fragrances if you want to smell amazing on a budget. I'll leave it linked down below and you can use the code JanelleL10 for the money off. I love you guys so much, and I pray you all stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!